Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with You Asked For It, and I've got it. The Bruckner box on Naxos, the new one, actually, because they had Georg Tintner's original Bruckner cycle, which is quite good, by the way. This has now been supplemented with this complete edition of all the Bruckner symphonies and all the official published editions, because there are more published editions coming by people who are not the Bruckner Gesellschaft people, whatever. Now, these recordings are all performed under the baton of Markus Poschner, with the Bruckner Orchestra Linz on the ORF Vienna Radio Symphony Orchestra in numbers 5, 7, 11, and some other things. This is 13, 15, 12. There's more, because they've numbered them all sort of consecutively, kind of. Well, they go by CDs, I guess. And the others are the Bruckner Orchestra Linz, which is the better of the two, quite considerably, actually. So let's see what's in here. I've reviewed a lot of these separately, but some of them not. And these were all originally issued, by the way, on Capriccio. The single discs are on Capriccio, and the box is on Naxos. Naxos owns Capriccio, so I understand why they did it that way. As a Naxos title, it probably has a little bit more cachet and a little bit more distribution, a little bit more widespread, whatever ability. So you get a very, very serious booklet. There it is. Nice bedtime reading for all you folks out there, for all you sleepyheads. And now, are you ready? On your mark, get set. Oh, God, here we go. Bruckner, Symphony in F minor, his student symphony. Now, this is an absolutely uncharacteristic and completely worthless piece of music that's very nicely performed here. It's a nice zippy performance of 53 minutes of, well, is it 53 or 33? No, thank God. 33 minutes, yes, of musical emptiness and insignificance. Then we have his symphony number 0, which was actually written between the second and third symphonies. So it's not as 0 as you think it is. It's not 0 they really shouldn't call it that. They should just call it Symphony in D minor. This only exists in one edition. It's the Novak edition. It's also a piece of music that you can understand at a moment's hearing why Bruckner canceled it out, because the first movement is completely devoid of thematic interest. The slow movement, as usual with Bruckner, is attractive. Scherzo's not bad. The finale, not really. Some people like this very much. It does sound like Bruckner. For that reason, that may be enough. I want good Bruckner. I don't want something that just sounds like Bruckner, like he got up and went out and did his grocery shopping. I want like great Bruckner. So for me, it's a non-happening, but I'm maybe in a minority about that. I don't know. Now we have two versions. Let's get them both of Symphony number 1. Two major versions. Now, Symphony number 1 exists in what's called the Linz version, which it turns out isn't as Linzish as we thought it was, because there is an earlier version that is sort of like the Linz version, but he cleaned it up a little by the time he got to Linz, or after Linz, or pre or post Linz. It's not as Linzalicious as it's supposed to be. And then he went over it again and prepared a Vienna version in like 1891, where everyone was begging him not to do it. And almost everybody agrees that the Linz version, which is sort of more rugged and direct, is the better of the two. I happen to agree with that. I really do. But this is so different that it's worth people getting hysterical and jumping up and down about, which they have a tendency to do. This thing is what can I say? They're good performances, both of them. They're almost exactly the same tempi throughout, yes, just about identical, and they're light and brisk and punchy and really very nice. So no problem there. Then we have two versions of Symphony number 2. Now, there are actually many more versions of Symphony number 2. See, it depends on what you call a version. Because you can say, well, there are two basic versions of Symphony number 2, which is what we have here, actually. And then because there were lots of small changes in between the various versions, it all depends on where you put the period. You can make 20 versions of Symphony number 2, but they may only differ by 2 bars, you see. Or a little cut here, a little nip and tuck there. So the original version, the first version, is by William Carrigan, the late William Carrigan. And it's really, really long. And this is a really quick performance that I find very patchy. I really do. I find both of these very patchy. The second was known as the Pause Symphony because it has, sections followed by pauses, which was really sort of mature Bruckner. But here they're pretty obvious, and there are ways to handle them. And I don't find Poschner doing them very persuasively in either of these versions. I find the music, the interpretations to be rather facile, and not. They don't have any long line or sense of continuity that I could, that really impressed me. So 2 is a bust. Absolutely. But by the way, I put the horses in the stable because we're doing a whole box. And I said to them, they're not going to be trotting around here all over the place. It's just annoying when they do that. Now, the third symphony. We have 3 versions of the third symphony. There is the first version, which is quite big and long and crazy. And it's kind of amazing because this performance takes 57 minutes, whereas Georg Tintner takes like 80. And it's the same work. That's like unbelievable, isn't it? This is with ORF radio. It's okay. Then we've got the second version from 1877. This is the one that was Bruckner's preferred version, and it's the one we should all use. Yes, it is the one. It tightens it up a little bit. It takes out all the Wagner quotations from this one. It makes it more declamatory or proclamatory and Bruckner sounding. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And this is a good performance. It's a good, solid, zippy performance. So that's good. And there's also a spare adagio, which is in here from the same symphony. I mean, in case all 3 of them isn't enough, if you want to have 4. And then we've got the late one, which sucks. This is the one that most people perform. And it's terribly heavily cut, especially in the finale, which is destroyed formally as a result, basically. And it's only for 2 minutes of music. I mean, what's the point, really? Right? It's all like in the recapitulation. They just chop out like the return of the first subject. It doesn't help. But this is the Schock interference edition. The Schock brothers, who are supposedly helping Bruckner and disfigured the work rather seriously. Anyway, but Bruckner was smarter than that, and he preferred the other one. Then we have 3 versions of the fourth symphony. Oh, boy. So first we have the original one with the original scherzo, which absolutely sucks, and a rather lighter toned finale. I mean, the fourth is interesting because it evolved from a first movement symphony to a finale symphony. And so the second version, which includes an extra version of the finale called Country Fair, which no one cares about, which is a mess, by the way, and completely irrelevant. This one, 1878-80, this is the one that we all should be listening to, that we all hear. The first version is 1876, but this is the good one, the big one, the serious one. And this one is 1888. This is horrid. This is the one that Bruckner was forced to approve, or he voluntarily approved because he felt he had no choice or whatever. But it was published by Gutmann. It was reorchestrated by his buddies. It is absolutely dreadful in every respect. It doesn't sound like Bruckner in large passages, and it sucks beyond belief. And it should never have been given the imprimatur of a critical edition. It just shouldn't have. That was evil and atrocious and despicable and a terrible act. Benjamin Korstvedt edited it. He never should have done that. So this is the one. However, none of these performances are terribly persuasive, in my view. They are all too light, too fast, kind of glib, and generally just not interesting. I mean, they really aren't, and I was rather surprised. So there you go. Next, number 5, excellent performance. There's only one edition. It's with the ORF Vienna Radio Symphony doing really good work, their best work in the series, I believe. And it's a first-class performance of a very difficult symphony to pull off. And he does. And it's smart and it's intelligent and it has many things going for it. And I did a separate review of it. This I reviewed, number 6, I believe, at classicstoday.com, if I didn't do it here. It's also very good. All of these performances tend to be on the quick and lighter sides. They do. But sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Here it works. It works quite well. It's a very fine sixth, and it started the cycle off with a bang. Unfortunately, it didn't stay banging all the time. Seventh. Oh, what a dog. Bow wow. Ooh, nay, horses, the whole deal. Really, really, really unfortunate. It's what kills this performance is the end of the first movement. And I'm usually not someone who says that, like one moment destroys a performance. But the coda of the first movement of the seventh is a big deal in terms of the work's structure, sonority, emotional impact. And he does this accelerando at the end, and accelerando, whatever you want to pronounce it, a going faster thing, a Geschwindigkeit thing, where it's just horrible, and vulgar, and terrible, and the orchestra is not great, and it's just terribly disappointing. Really, it is. Most respects. Then we come to number 8. So there are two versions of number 8. There is the icky poo yucky 1887 first version, and then the really great 1890 version in Novak's edition, which is this one. Haas has now been thoroughly discredited, even though I like it because it has more music in it, But you're basically going to get either the original or the Novak later version. Either way, it's very, very good eighth. These are very good performances, both of them, but I can't stand that first edition. It's horrible, especially the coda of the first movement, where it ends the way this one ends, and that's the ending. But here it starts up again and starts hopping around for another minute or two. And the scherzo is way too repetitious, and it's got all kinds of problems. But this is really, really good. It's swift, but weighty and powerful as well. So that's great. And we just talked about the ninth with the Bruckner Orchestra Linz, which is really, really a fine, exciting performance. Aside from the fact that the cosmic sound and the adagio, that da, 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 the horns going, wah, da, wah, da, 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 is a little too fast. I mean, he could have just given it a little bit more epic, grander bigness, but he doesn't. And okay, fine. Tiny issue, not like the coda of the Seventh Symphony, where his approach really wrecks it. This doesn't do that. This is just part of the whole. So anyway, there you go. So where are we with this box? Well, the bottom line is that you're in very, very good shape, except for 3, 4, and 7. 3 isn't bad. It's quick. It's just quick. It's not a big. So let's just say you're in good shape except for 4 and 7. 4, none of them are very successful. Well, no, 2 isn't very good either. All right, let's start over. All right, you're in very good shape except for 2, 4, and 7. That's it. Those are the performances that are real bow wows in this particular box. But everything else is quite good. And you get all the versions of everything, so you can make your own comparisons and have as much fun as you like doing it. I don't envy you. But if that's what floats your boat, then go for it. And whatever else you do, keep on listening, friends. And thanks for joining me. Take care.